Okay, well, hello everybody. Welcome to our newest show, Filmmaking Sucks.
But we love it anyway.
Yes, we do. So that's like double parentheses right there.
That's what it is.
It's like Inception. We have to go deeper.
We're going to go deeper.
Yes, we are.
We're going to go deeper. Mario, it's nice to be back with you.
Yes, it's good to be back.
And talking movies again.
Yeah.
I've missed talking movies.
Yeah, although this is a different sort of talk.
Nonetheless.
But yes.
For those who are unaware, me and Mario used to host Mario Likes Movies.
Yes.
And I have since moved on to What Lurks on Channel X, and he has moved on to Seeing Red Media, where they're doing video games?
Yeah, it's more video games. It's movies too, but it's overall just a pile of trash and all kinds of nerd stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was going to do a filmmaking segment, but this is kind of the hell with that, and this is what this is now. So
okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
And Lynn,
hi.
I
just joined What Lurks on Channel X recently, and now here I am.
Yeah, Channel X. We do weird stories and serial killers and
cannibals,
horrible happenings in the world, and that's what we cover on that. But by mostly night, I guess, because we work days. I work nights, but whatever. Our technical term of day jobs, we have day jobs, but by night we are filmmakers.
Maybe
movie makers.
There's lots of question marks.
There's lots of terms that I think get thrown around, and I'm not quite sure which one I am.
The new fad for the hipsters is that filmmaker is old and outdated and pretentious to the pretentious crowd, which is a little ironic in and of itself there.
Yeah.
But yeah. I make movies. Well, I am no longer a filmmaker.
Okay, well, okay.
I hate being a filmmaker. I feel like it's very pretentious. And I don't feel like I've earned it. Sorry. I don't feel like I've earned filmmaking, like of being a filmmaker.
But
I don't know.
Here's how I see that. What's coming up this month? A premiere of the second Massgrave Pictures film?
Yeah, technically.
Okay, so even if you don't feel like you've earned it, you have a physical and digital piece of cinema that says otherwise. So I'm going to have to disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
Well, what exactly defines you as a filmmaker?
Well,
what makes you a filmmaker? I mean, because, okay, here's the thing. Nowadays, anybody can call themselves a filmmaker. Anybody can make a fucking movie. Okay?
But I think that's the thing. There's a difference between a movie and a film.
Yes, there is a difference between a movie and a film. Anybody can make one at this point. With filmmaking, okay, so the way we see it, movies are more entertainment and film
popcorn. Yeah. We've discussed this numerous times on other shows.
I think films have a message. Films have a reason behind them, and it feels to me as a more emotional term. Mm-hmm. I guess if that makes any sense. Yeah. And I think movies are just for entertainment and just fun.
But I think a lot of the time, people make their movies. They make their movies and they call them films, and they suck, so they just say it's art.
I see it as
they call it art. I made a film.
I see it as the opposite, actually.
And it's actually crap that they're just masquerading as art. Well, that's what I meant. No, dude, you didn't buy a light.
Poor lighting is not creativity.
Poor lighting is not creativity. You know, it's true. Your cell phone has a flashlight on it. What were you going to say before I...
Well, basically, you could look at it on the other side of the coin, because there are filmmakers or movie makers out there that are so passionate about it. It could be they wanted to do it their whole lives, or it could be like they saw a film or a movie. Say they saw The Shining for the first time, and it literally blew them away, and they were like, wow, I want to do that. But then, like, sometimes people are so passionate about it that they kind of overlook certain things. So I'll give them one pass most of the time, just one.
I can agree that it's okay. Here's my thing.
Because I mean, I've done that. So
First off, just
We've
for
all
our
done
first off, just for our listeners, before we get too far into this whole conversation, what we were meant to say in the beginning is that this is going to be a very rough episode right here. This episode being our first, we're really just going to get down to the reasons we're doing this show.
yes.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of this conversation right now. What is the purpose of this show? What it is we are attempting to accomplish with it, and what's going to hopefully set us apart from other filmmaking shows out there. Okay? You want to add anything to that?
Yes, I really think considering we're doing the format we're doing, we should really talk about that. And I guess I'll start since I am not a member of Masquerade Pictures.
Okay.
Okay, so my name is Mario Melillo. Also, James M. Executus as my stage name is overtaking my real name. I started as a wild-eyed young kid with a big imagination. I was told by my elders that back in the day, I'm 35 years old, we're all similar ages here, give or take a few years, that will make you no money. You can't do that. You can't go anywhere with it. Nowadays, as we will talk about later, it's possible, and we've already touched on that. For me, I started as a film critic, and just because I loved watching movies, but I've always been creative. I've always wanted to make my own things, and then I just branched into that. I've created a web series, The Spies Files. I've done trailers for the first movie I was supposed to do called Pandemonium, and we'll get to that later or in another episode. And I'm currently finally working on my first feature film called The Epilogues, and that is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my turn?
Yes,
Sure.
We'll go clockwise.
Why not?
Clockwise. Now you guys all know how we were sitting. My name is Lindsay Serrano.
Hi, Lindsay. Welcome to the
Hi.
class.
I'm a filmmaker. I know. Okay. I'm probably a little bit unique in you too. Sorry. I'm a little unique with you two. Is I went to a college and I have a media arts degree. So I specialized in producing, film production, management, and producing, and I have a minor in theater. I did the routine of the freelancing. So I spent about a year of my life working on a number of independent films, independent horror films, working as an assistant stage manager and stage manager off Broadway. I was an art PA, I was a parking PA. And then eventually we decided to start making our own short films. I think we've made about Manny and I. Hello, Manny.
Mario has this look on his face like, I didn't know all that about you.
No, I knew all that, but the 27 offs and then Broadway. That
it was Sheepshead Bay.
Yeah,
it was nowhere near.
It was Coney Island.
It was
So it was
Coney
like
Island.
it wasn't quite dinner theater, but it was close to.
Well, I mean, I wrote, directed, and starred in my own play about the life and times of Sylvia Plath.
Was that the dinner theater?
That
one?
was the one in Coney Island.
Okay.
But you know what? It was done, and it was cool. I can say that I
we
did
don't
that.
knock anybody or anything
Yeah.
they've done here.
No.
So then Manny and I, my loving partner in all things.
The next person to describe who
The
they
next
are
thing
and what
is
they're
to describe
doing.
both. I'm just gonna let you describe them.
Describe who?
What we do, who we are.
We
Next.
make movies. We make movies. I'm Manny Serrano, and I have been in one form of media or another since I'm about 14.
That includes diddling with himself and his instruments and music.
Yeah. When I was real young, when I was a kid, I was always into art, and I spent most of my time watching movies. And then in high school, in around the Nirvana time, everybody wanted to start a band, so of course I started a band, and I got into
too.
music. Yeah, and I got into doing music,
too.
and
There you go. All three of us.
yeah. Like I said, around Nirvana, everybody wanted
to be in a band.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to pick up where Kurt left off. From that point, in my high school had a broadcasting studio that was being highly underutilized. It had a full $500,000 broadcasting studio, full soundboard, cameras, lighting, the whole thing, and it looked like a public access TV station. It looked like
Oh, nice.
yes, it was a full broadcast
So it was like
studio.
the AV Club and Stranger Things kind of thing.
Yes. Seriously, it was a
The big
full
ham radio and all the equipment.
Yes, it had 3 full-size TV cameras and the whole production board in the back, behind the window and everything. You know,
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, they spent all this money, and there was even a first. I mean, because I'm talking 1994 at this point, there was even an Apple computer with some form of what was, before Final Cut, was all live effects. There was no post effects. It was all live. It was all live broadcast stuff. So
it was like TV production.
Yes,
Yeah.
as I was saying, it was a full TV production studio.
So is that what got you into the filmmaking?
And yeah, my first semester in high school, I had an English class in there.
that makes a lot of sense.
They weren't using the broadcasting studio itself. They just used the recording, the studio portion, and they used it for classes, regular English classes. And I was talking to one of the teachers, and the teacher wanted to mess around with some of the stuff. I cut a class one day, and I happened to come over and look at it, and we started fucking around with the boards and everything, and we started moving. And over the next 4 years, I spent most of my time cutting my classes,
and being in that room.
hanging out in that room, learning every single bit of that board from A to Z. So
And that's what kind of put you on the path.
I learned how to edit video on a VHS. I learned
On a
how
track?
on a VHS, VCRs.
Oh, so you did track
They
editing
had
on
VCRs.
VCRs. Holy
I
shit.
learned how to edit audio on a reel-to-reel.
Okay.
Okay, I learned all live TV production effects, crossfades, how to run a 3-camera shoot.
George Lucas would be proud.
Yeah, I learned how to do all that stuff. I learned how to direct and produce a TV show in 4 years in high school.
At least,
you know?
at least it mattered for something.
Yeah, and the teacher himself, he actually incorporated it all into his class because he said, you know what, they're not doing anything with this. They said as long as nothing gets broken, we're fine. So he said there was me, and actually there was one other kid who cut a lot of his classes hanging out in there. And since we were the ones always there, he trusted us. We ran the boards, and the class actually they created projects like book projects and stuff where they would perform it in front of the cameras.
So,
that's a cool combination.
Yeah.
So you basically have theoretically and technically you have 22 years of filmmaking or production experience from that point on.
Technically.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. So
Yes.
Now Lindsay was saying you guys have done short films when you started the early stages of Mass Grave Pictures.
Our first official short film was 2006.
Okay, so 10 years
Yeah.
as of this recording.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've made a combination of 13, 14, 15 short films,
Yeah.
probably.
And now 2 feature films.
And 2 feature films and a web series / pseudo feature film. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
I guess I consider that a feature now that it's all together.
It's 53 minutes, so it just depends on which festival we're submitting to. Some over 45 is a feature, and some it's over 60, some it's over 70.
I think it's sci-fi, so it counts.
Yeah, I think that
I think just because of what it is.
because of what it is, movies were not 90
Long back
minutes
then, yeah.
back then. A lot of
Yeah.
movies were 70 minutes, and that was
Thing
it.
from Another World was only like 65 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
only like 10 minutes shy of a 1950s creature feature length.
So now that we've gotten introductions and the backstories out of the way,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Why are we here right now?
I think our purpose here is to define ourselves.
That is a good answer.
There are different types of filmmakers. Okay, there are the hobbyists, which are people who just make movies for fun. They go out with their friends, they make some movies, and they just enjoy it, and that's it. Like, okay, there was that TV show on Sci-Fi, Town of the Dead. Have you ever seen that?
Oh.
Yeah, the thing where they were making the movie for like 10 years
Yeah.
or whatever.
Those are hobbyists. They're doing it because it's fun. They get all their friends into it, and you know what I mean? And they just keep making this movie. It's fun for them.
Can I classify like I guess I could say the weekend warriors, the mom and dads
Yeah.
who like take the slideshows and make big, huge Windows movie media maker things out of them, and I guess I kind of classify that too. There's a little bit of creative niche
Okay, so
to that.
we have weekend warrior filmmakers as well.
Yeah.
But I think that those people like Town of the Dead, they're hobbyists. They're just enjoying doing it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to be very good. They just like getting out there, having their friends in front of a camera, and they all, they do special
doing something
effects.
together to create
That's it.
something together.
That's all it is to it. That's all there is to it. They have no intention of making. If a career comes of it, then so be it. But no, chances are they're just going to make their movies, have some fun, and move on. And just keep doing it. Period. When we have some free time, they pull out the camera and let's shoot a scene in the backyard with our friends and our kids, and we'll put some blood on the kids, and the kids will run around like a bunch of monsters. Weekend, not weekend, but yes, those are hobby filmmakers.
Hobbyists, yes.
Then on the other extreme are the people who just want to make money. Just want to make money.
There's professionals, and then there's working professionals.
Yeah.
Okay. I think now there's a very small difference between the two of them. Okay. The professionals are Hollywood. That's the Steven Spielberg,
Hollywood and TV.
James Cameron.
Those are
TV
professionals.
producers, Dick Wolf.
These guys
stuff,
make their money. They make their living. They have a career, and they pay other people to make movies for them.
Okay, now let's talk about
working professionals. Yes.
One little aside about what you just mentioned, for those of you listening, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you just stumbled across this podcast, most of you will know that when we talk about professionals, that's what you're going to know. You're going to know the Steven Spielbergs, the George Lucases, the people that make the popular things, the popular directors. So that's professional.
Yeah.
Let's go to working professionals.
The working professionals are the crew, the people who are literally hired guns.
Including directors and writers.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Although Hollywood is big in that too, but
they are.
We've already covered that.
It's very, very rare for a director to have written his own film.
Nowadays, yes.
It's very rare you have writer-director anymore. It's very rare. You get that in the indie scene.
Mm-hmm.
Also, but
almost exclusively in indie scene and the professional.
I was going to say, to add,
that's it.
Named story directors will have their hand in 30% of script rewrites or script writing in general.
Yeah.
But they are paid to do, that's part of their package. It's, yes, we need you to come in and direct like Fast and Furious 9. You and your partner or partners have to come up with a story. It has to fit this plot, go. And that's pretty much.
Directors tend to have some say in the script, but they don't necessarily write it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's part of a package usually in the professional circuit.
Exactly.
I mean, but also in television too. I worked as an intern on Guiding Light, the soap opera for CBS, and that was a different look into things. The producer is king when it comes to that. Producers are actually very involved in the story writing. They sit with the writers. They do most of the editing. They watch most of the footage. Producer is really where you want to be on that aspect of, I guess, working.
Bigger professional movie studios, the producer has a lot of say as well. Like I'd say Marvel, Disney, Paramount.
And I would say even so, Steven Spielberg, that's a big name. Even James Wan, he's professional. You know, he's a professional. When I say professional, I mean the people who they can pick and choose what they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't. They're not worried about where their next paycheck is coming from, because they have residuals coming in.
People come to them as opposed to them having to go to someone.
Exactly. Yes. Those are professionals.
Working professionals have to go to people.
Yes. Working professionals get hired. They need to know where their next job is, where they're going to be working, who's going to be hiring them, what they're going to be doing, and that goes from producers and directors all the way down the line to the PA who puts the icing on cupcakes.
That's what my cousin does, and he makes $750,000 a year.
See? Yeah. Yes. Those are working professionals. Those guys don't know what they're going to be doing next week.
And then there is us, which is what this whole point, whole point of this show is about.
That's what I wanted. Where do we fit in? Okay, there's the low budget, no budget.
I hate that term.
Yes. You know, there's the indie budget, the super low, all these.
See, I don't.
Okay, those classifications,
micro budgets.
Those classifications for clarification. Those classifications only exist because of the unions. All right. When you're working on it, when you're making a film and you want to get a SAG actor, specifically, we're talking SAG.
Yeah.
SAG is they
Screen Actors Guild.
Yes.
Which is essentially like everything now.
Yes. When you're making a movie,
They absorbed
AFTRA.
AFTRA.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to hire a SAG actor, then you have to go by one of the SAG contracts, and they have multiple different levels of that. We will do this in length on another episode as to what the levels of contracts are. But quick once over, every one of those contracts has a different name based on how much your budget is. And
your intention of what you're going to do with it.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the smallest being micro budget, I believe, is the smallest.
Micro, yes.
Yeah.
I believe micro is the smallest, and that is like
$300,000.
no, that's low budget.
Oh, I thought that was micro budget.
No, micro budget is like 50,000 and under,
Oh, okay.
but something like that, whatever it is. But 50,000. Oh, excuse me. There's one lower than that, which is technically student film.
Or experimental.
Experimental art, yes.
Those two are below that.
There's a lot of new. They've come up with new things, but basically, like the super low micro budget movie is like under 50 grand, and part of that agreement is that you cannot release it commercially.
Yeah, for SAG, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot release it commercially, and if you do, then you have to renegotiate
Negotiate up.
to the higher budget contract, even though your film does not fall under the category of it. But if you're going to make, as far as SAG is concerned, if you are going to make a movie under $50,000, you're not allowed to sell it if you're going to use our actor. Now that, yes, exactly. You're not allowed to sell it. And if you do
I
sell
knew
it,
that, but like,
think about it. Exactly. You have to think, you have to say it sometimes.
Yeah.
Think about that. You're not
it's
allowed
like water
to sell
is
it.
wet.
Yes. And then you have to say to yourself, so then what do I do if I want to sell it? Well, then you have to go under the low budget contract, which classifies you under a $250,000 or $300,000 film.
$300,000, yeah.
Yes, a $300,000 film. Even though you made your movie for 10 grand, we're going to put you in the same bracket as a $300,000 film, and you are going to pay our actor the rate that a $300,000 film would have paid him.
Or you're just going to take that $50,000
Or you're going to
just burn it.
Yeah.
Just take it out to the backyard and burn it.
Or you're going to give him a back end percentage. You're going to promise him a back end percentage of like 3 or 4%. Which is also nonsense because there is no back end when you're talking about a $10,000 movie.
So now we do not fall under these guidelines yet, but but
I have skirted. I've skirted around SAG a couple of times already.
I have to do it.
Yeah, I've skirted around them a couple of times. There are ways around it. Again, we'll get to that in other episodes.
So basically, the gist of it is that we
are not working professionals.
We are not.
We are not professionals.
We have
hobbyists. We're not weekend warriors.
We have worked on.
We have been paid in the past, but on a regular basis, we still have our full-time jobs.
Yes.
And we have to find a way to make time and find the money for this stuff.
And find the energy.
And on top of that, we make horror movies.
Yes, we do.
Which I think puts us in a whole separate class in and of itself. Because I know, and something that upsets me a lot, is a lot of indie filmmakers look down on horror films.
They do.
They look down.
It's a joke. Make your first zombie movie.
Yeah,
make
everybody
your slasher
starts
movie.
because it's easy to stick a bunch of people in a house and kill them over the weekend.
Well, let's discuss why that's not.
I will spend
easy.
more money on effects in one film, on just the effects, than some of these other guys will spend on their entire movie.
Yep.
So every single time I hear somebody say that horror films are cheap and easy to make, I want to strangle.
Our first movie, Blood Slaughter Massacre, is actually available on Amazon and
Google Play and
Play,
YouTube,
everywhere,
YouTube,
iHorror. We're all over the place.
Yeah, we have a distributor, which is a little unique for most of this as well. But what I wanted to say was, Blood Slaughter Massacre has 26 speaking roles.
something like that.
Something like
28
that.
speaking roles.
28 speaking roles, and we had
19 locations.
19 locations.
No, it was more than that speaking roles. It was officially, the body count was officially
42.
42 bodies were
So
seen
we
in
did
the
42
movie.
effects.
Yes, 42 separate
Minimum.
people were killed in the movie.
Minimum 42
Yes.
effects.
Yes.
Because there was
No. That was the maximum. That was
Yeah.
that was the official count was 42.
42 people died. Yeah.
42 people died in the movie. We had 19 separate locations. We had 4 or 5 main characters. We shot for 10 months. You know?
I'm going on 4 years. Well, no,
Yeah.
mine's been boxed for a while. I did 3 years for my web series, so.
We shot for 10 months, and minus, and even some of them, but out of the 45 or so actors in the entire movie,
Almost everybody had a
just
line.
the actors. No, forget that. Out of the 45, there's maybe 10 or 12 of them who are really good friends of ours that we've worked on their sets before, and they work on our sets. Those are the only ones who were not paid. Every single other person in that movie walked away with some form of paycheck. Is low, it may have been low.
It may have been a stipend. It may have been.
But every single person got something for being in there, minus the people who we work with. And you know what they get?
we have our agreements between
Yes,
ourselves.
our agreement
Yeah.
is that it's
a barter system.
Exactly. They get our help on their set, we get their help on ours. You know?
And as far as I go, I also did the no pay thing for a while because
You have to in the beginning. Let's be
in the
honest.
beginning of what we are, you have to
Beg, borrow, and steal.
beg, borrow, steal, pull favors. But now even I learned, I pay my actors, I pay my crew,
Yep.
I feed them, I offer bathrooms and commodities and amenities, I should say.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing we'll touch up on soon about the rights and wrongs and the do's and don'ts. But basically, the whole point of this is we are trying to define what we are because we are more than just the labels we've given you.
Yeah. Again, we're above hobbyists, but we're not,
above hobbyists. We're not working professionals. We're
not
somewhere in between.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't like saying that we're still trying to break in because
you're having a premiere. You are having
breaking in.
premiere.
Yeah, there's
in
no
2
breaking
weeks
in
from
anymore.
this.
There's no real breaking in.
I mean,
yet.
we've worked conventions. We've sold our DVD around the country. I mean,
Yeah.
we have people who
You
come
have a
and see
movie
us. We have
available
followers
for
and
sale
fans.
on digital media platforms and physical media platforms.
Yeah.
There's no breaking in for you two. You're just there. And I'd like to say I'm on my way there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's more than a hobby. It's more than a lifestyle, quote unquote.
And it also wasn't easy. It
No.
was not easy. And I think
Still
that's
isn't easy.
No, it's still not easy.
And in the other episodes we're going to be doing, we're going to explain
Why it's not
why
easy.
it's not easy. But yes, that is really our point is what are we? And we've been trying to think of some kind of phrase, some kind of classification, but honestly, even though we will end up getting one,
It won't happen
I
today.
like to think that we're more free thinkers in this aspect because we want to be working professionals. We want to be professional, but not everybody can take that easy way. Some people get lucky breaks. Some people bust their ass and, you know, just say the hell with it and go for it. But for most normal people that realize they want to do this either later in life or eventually in the beginning, I guess, like Manny, you started doing this in high school. I started doing this when I was 26.
Yep.
Lindsay, when did you start? Obviously when you started.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been in and
him.
out of theater, like all throughout
Yeah.
junior high and high school. I did theater.
Yeah, so same
I
thing
was a
with you,
theater
high
kid.
school-ish, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, and Lindsay, her family had resources and she still, like, a lot of people don't understand, just one little quick thing about this is that a lot of people who are professionals either come from money or got really lucky.
Yeah.
And like, I don't mean that in a negative way, but that's honestly like
I don't
a
want to
big,
say lucky. I don't like saying lucky
I,
because it sounds
the
like
timing was right for them. There we go.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Yes.
It was
they
good
weren't
timing.
lucky because luck implies...
They put in the work and they had the talent at the time.
Luck implies
so it was
that there's
good timing.
no work involved.
Yeah, it was good timing.
I mean,
so I'll retract the luck.
In order to get yourself to the right place at the right time, you got to bust your ass to even get to that place.
Yeah, I mean, when we made the short films came out of our pocket. You know, that was me and him finding a little extra money, making the sacrifices, not going out to dinner, not going out on dates, living in the same apartment now for 14 years.
Now.
You know, and I had to earn the respect and the trust to get the resources that we've gotten to this point. It wasn't just...
That's true for everybody in every situation.
I was more talking about the lucky. Oh, you're lucky. Oh, you're you still have to earn the trust. I mean, when somebody gives you money to create something, they're putting trust in you.
Exactly. It's not lucky. It's right place, right time. Well, definitely. That is a definite big part of it.
Well, like I said, I retract the lucky as right timing.
Yeah, but to get to that place, you have to work really hard to get to that right place and right time. This isn't like, I was standing on the middle of the street one day and a piano fell on my head because I just so happened to cross the street at the wrong moment.
Right.
No, it's not unlucky or lucky like that. It doesn't happen like that. Like if you want to get lucky, you need to know what you're doing in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, I'd like to wrap that up for this week. We're going to try to keep these episodes short so we can just kind of burst stuff out, and we have to. And I felt that last minute or two, you just throw it. Oh my God, I want to say this. I want to say this. I want to say that.
Yeah.
There's going to be more episodes in the future. Yeah. We're going to do this like this because honestly, the Channel X podcast takes a lot of time to do. It takes almost 2 hours to record. It takes me 6 hours to edit. And with this, I want this to be straight information. I want us to talk as we talk.
Yeah. And hopefully we can
And I want to talk to people like us.
Yeah. Hopefully we could figure it out ourselves as to what we are.
Yeah.
And maybe with the help of the audience, we can... I personally don't like classification of myself, but unfortunately that's not how the world works.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out... Until we get to the professional.
We want to. Yeah. We want to just kind of say to ourselves, okay, well, what are we? Maybe some part of us is looking for validation within ourselves. Like, are we wasting our time?
Are we?
Or it's something that haunts me at night.
Yeah. We all face this, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners, the people we know out there, they all hit that point where they say, "Am I wasting my time?"
But I mean, I think that's one part of it. But I also think it's we've done panels, we've done conventions, we've talked to a bunch of people, and I think the biggest thing that I've seen is just like people want to do this, and they just don't know how to take that step.
And that's going to be our next episode.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to talk to those people and give them a way to.
This is how we took our step, and maybe if we just keep sharing and comparing different steps that we've all taken, maybe we'll finally get somewhere.
Yes.
We're not perfect.
Nope.
No.
So, for Filmmaking Sucks, this is Manny.
I'm Mario/James.
And I'm Lindsay.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Toodles.
Bye.